Good afternoon, folks. I'm Michael. This is Luke, and we are here on We Are the Game. And today we are talking on our segment, Never Tell Me the Odds, where I asked Luke to give me the odds on many different situations in the NFL today. And with that, we're gonna jump right in with our first question coming up. All right. Which player this year is most likely to win NFL Comeback Player of the Year from their varied circumstances from last year? Between Rashid Rice, Christian McCaffrey, Russell Wilson, or Nick Chubb?
Well, let's see. I feel like the low-hanging fruit here is Christian McCaffrey. Because of who he was year before last. Now, if he just plays 17 games and has a solid season, he's probably the comeback player of the year. I think he's the easy answer here. There's a lot of doubts if he can do that or not, just because of this, what it sounds like that injury might be. I'm not a doctor, of course, but just from what people have described, I keep getting the impression that he may never be the same. So, not really sure. Similarly, I think Nick Chubb is in he's in a spot where he might be the guy that, he's coming back from that second really nasty leg injury. Like, he's got really strong legs until he doesn't, and then they are paper clips. Yeah. Maybe that's a little mean, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just rough. Now, Russ, he played a good portion of last season. Well, like 10 games or 11 games or something like that. So comeback for him is a little different. But I do think that if he comes back in a form and is like, it takes the Giants to 7 or 8 wins or even maybe more, and somehow just has the offense actually doing something, that's his possibility. Rashid Rice, I'm just going to say I don't think it's particularly likely for him to get that, not with that team, not with how they were using him when he's even healthy, because you have to kind of come back and not just play, but be really significant. I'm not saying he's insignificant, but be a real featured weapon on a team. So I'll say probably not a Rashid Rice. I think Russ would have to probably take the Giants to the playoffs to be comeback player of the year. So between Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey, because of who McCaffrey was the year prior, the year before he missed most of last year, I'd say he's my favorite here. I'd say McCaffrey is the one with the right parameters. Now, I guess I have to offset that real quick with, is he actually going to come back and do that? I'd still have the most confidence in him over any of these other players. So, I'll stick with McCaffrey for this one.
That makes sense. I think if Russell Wilson takes the Giants to the playoffs this year, he might need to be more than just player of the year, maybe player of the decade, comeback player of the decade on that. Because that's a tough division. All right, moving on. All right, which team is Aaron Rodgers most likely to play for this season? The Dallas Cowboys, after a Dak Prescott injury, the Arizona Cardinals, after their quarterback goes down, or whatever may happen there, the Vikings, or the Steelers? What are your thoughts?
Well, the easy answer is the Steelers. Some part of me thinks that the Vikings thing is not impossible. And I think he would have the best season on the Vikings. I just think they have the most complete team around him. I do like some of what the Steelers have going on, but I think that what the Vikings have, that offense, it just kind of makes sense. And plus, I enjoy symmetry historically with, what Brett Favre did, just like anyone else. As for Dallas and Arizona, these aren't impossible, but Arizona seems very happy with their current backup situation. You would need Kyler to go down, let's say, in like training camp, like early. I don't think they're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers instead of Jacoby Brissett if we're 4-4 halfway through the season. I don't think they're like, well, bring in this guy, and chances of him being available and still feeling like sitting on a couch waiting for a team to call halfway through a season just seem unlikely, and kind of copy and paste what I just said to Dallas. So if that goes down in the next 8 weeks, then Dallas is a theoretical possibility. And I kind of like it with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. He's got some weapons. He's got a team that you tend to have a solid running game no matter who your running back is.
Yeah.
And yes, I think you should capitalize on this more than you have, but you still have done a pretty good job of turning. No one knew who Rico Dowdle was last year, so
Right.
he was pretty solid. So we'll see. But I would say A and B are incredibly unlikely. And partially they're even more unlikely because C and D are pretty likely.
Yeah.
D in particular has still got to be the favorite. C, the Vikings have at least stated that they want JJ McCarthy to be the guy. So,
Sure.
So we'll see. I will take the Steelers.
All right. So that makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. All right, moving on. All right. What are the chances that the NFC East sends only one team to the playoffs? What do you think? And you can choose any percentage you want. I threw these in here as general options.
Right. Only one team would mean Dallas may be a little bit better, but not quite good enough. It would probably mean that Washington regressed, as we've talked about. But I still don't know that I'm really predicting that. It's just one of those things that I'm watching out of the corner of my eye. But, the Eagles missing the playoffs just doesn't seem particularly likely. So, yeah. I mean, I'll go like 25%. I'll go like 25%, and that would be like Washington barely missing a wild card spot to someone else. Like if the NFC West just jumps up with an easier schedule this year and sends 3, and the NFC North sends 2, that would be all of the wild card teams. So I'll give them 25% on this, and then I think that's probably about it. So
yeah, 25. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What are the odds the Dallas Cowboys win 0 playoff games again this year?
Similar to last one, if you're giving me a little bit of creative license with the percentages here.
Sure.
I mean, what are the odds? I mean, it's decent, man. You'll have a tough schedule again. Your division, like you're coming back from stuff. There are some questions. I mean, of these 3 choices, I'd go with 50. I say it's a 50-50 chance right now with what we know. We still don't know what George Pickens is going to look like in that offense. So until we do, I'll just give him like a 50-50 shot. Yeah, I'll go 50-50. What you got?
I like it. All right. Which team is most likely to have the number 1 overall draft pick of these options in the next draft? Patriots, Broncos, Panthers, or Titans? What's your feel?
Initially, so I'm not the biggest Cam Ward believer. I like the way he carries himself. I like all that stuff. But when I watch him play football, I don't see anything particularly amazing. He's not just blowing the doors off and it's just like instantly he's going to come in and change that franchise. And on top of that, the Titans had more problems than just quarterback. One could question if Will Levis was really the major problem last year. Like he was a problem, but he wasn't the only problem. So the Titans are the easy answer. The Panthers should be away from 1. They even if they have a rough year, I think they'll be the 7th, 8th.
Yeah.
And the Patriots, I like some of what they did this year. So similar to the Panthers, honestly, I think they'll be 7 or 8, maybe all the way up to like 10 or 12. Some people think they might even make the playoffs this year. I think they're mostly Patriots fans, but there's no way the Broncos. I really like what they've been doing. I'm a bigger believer in what do they say? What they're calling them, Bo-Leavers.
Clever.
I'm something of a Bo-Leaver.
Same here.
He's done pretty well so far. So I'll say Titans again. I'm kind of hoping that's not the case, but I'll say Titans are the most likely of these 4.
Yeah, sadly, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of a backseat fan of the Titans, but I think you're very possibly right there. All right. What are the chances a tight end leads the league in receiving touchdowns? What do you think?
You didn't even put You didn't even put Trey McBride up here. I'm offended.
That's what you should be.
It's probably about, without having even seen the percentages, like in my head, as I read the question immediately, my head said 30%. So somewhere between 20 and 40, one of those two. I'll say 20. Lately, tight ends have been getting a lot of yardage, but only a couple of them have been getting a lot of touchdowns. Like I know Kittle had a lot last year. Brock Bowers had a great year, but yeah, I'll say it's just like 20%. Maybe it's 20, maybe 40. I could go with one of those two, but I think there's going to be a receiver this year with 13 even, and that would be ahead of highest tight end. So, and obviously it's going to be Trey McBride. It's not going to be any of those guys.
Obviously. What an oversight on my part.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, that's all the ones I had for you today. We'll be back and have more next week. Thanks everybody for joining.
Yep. Like and subscribe.